the prophetic, what I observe more often than not is people are very, very eager to receive a word. They're extremely eager to receive a word. I get a little concerned about it. I'm 100% all supportive of prophecy in the office of prophecy. As soon as someone says something that seems positive, it's very common that they're either not testing the spirit, or not praying into the word they're receiving, that they just receive it immediately. The book of Galatians shows us a little bit about how we would know if someone's working with a godly spirit or ungodly spirit, and it comes in the form of works of the flesh. That's how we know if someone's working with an ungodly spirit. When someone is working in the flesh, you're often going to see signs that they often become easily frazzled, have poor self-control. They often get angry. They often may get lustful or be inappropriate with one another. So it's not terribly uncommon to find people when they struggle with being being in the position of the faith where they're giving prophecy, and they are working with ungodly spirits to provide prophecy. What you'll notice about them spiritually is that they are working in the flesh. In Galatians chapter 5, 19 through 21 talks to us about works of the flesh. Again, that's Galatians 5 and 19 through 21. Now, the works of the flesh are evident: sexual immorality, impurity, sensuality, idolatry, sorcery, enmity, strife, jealousy, fits of anger, rivalries, dissensions, divisions, and envy, drunkenness, orgies, and things like these. So when you see someone who's walking with works of the flesh, they don't have very good self-control, but then they are attempting to prophesy over you. And then you're also beginning to see where they're trying to get the glory from God. They're enjoying the spotlight a little too much. That is a sign to me that they're walking in their flesh. And you have to think about it. If they're not being led by the Holy Spirit, the Spirit of God, then what's giving them that word? If they are walking in the flesh, then it's more often than not that they are not at that same time fully able to receive from God and deliver a word from God, because they're so in their flesh. So I would question the person who's prophesying over one who has got a lot of that going on, or commonly has that going on. And I would even caution you guys that even if a person tends to be fairly controlled, and then they start having these moments where they're starting to fly off the handle, this is someone that frame by frame over time is starting to move toward the flesh. That can happen. It can happen where someone a few months ago was fine and they start to fall away from God. People, we are flawed human beings. We fall into sin and temptation sometimes. And so that's one way that we can see someone's falling away, as they're falling into their flesh, having unrepentant sin, difficulty with self-control, but they're in a leadership position, and then trying to prophesy over you. And then also getting in the spotlight, running around, taking the glory from God. Those are things that I would start to say, pray about receiving a word from those individuals before you just receive it. I would say, take it with caution. Not to say that these people are not prophesying with power of God. I'm saying these are the ones I would specifically encourage you to really pray before you receive a word. Don't just walk up there and receive a word from them. When you see all of these, I'm going to call that a red flag. When you see all those things going on, when you see them in the spotlight, loving the attention that they're getting. In this particular service that I was attending online, I saw the pastor prophesying over and over, different individuals, some information that I think was pretty much not very useful, and then getting extremely excited about it. And when it was time to move on into the service, he himself seemed like he was getting pulled back into trying to prophesy again. So there is a sense that at times a person can prophesy out of their own self versus allowing God to work through them. That's also a thing. So does that make sense, guys? I get a little concerned when we are so eager to receive a word from someone potentially that we don't know, that we haven't met, or just receiving a word from someone, we haven't followed them very long, we don't know how they're working. I would just caution you guys that the office of the prophecy is real. It's a real office. They do great things. They can function in two different aspects biblically. Prophets can give future information, but they can also just give encouraging words. Both aspects are biblically considered prophecy, but you want to be mindful that we should be testing every spirit to see whether they are from God or not, and whether we should receive a word from them. I just caution you guys with that. It's not to say that everyone who prophesies is faking it or anything like that, but it's to give you guys information that can keep you safe as you go out there and you're encountering different people. Because if they're not giving God the glory and they're doing all this prophecy, then you have to wonder, what is going on with them that they are getting so excited and God's not getting the glory and they're receiving the glory. I have to wonder about a little bit of that.